Good afternoon. Thank you for coming to this panel. Let me start introducing our guests. The first one, I would like to say that we are a little bit sad because Simone Borg could not come for health reasons, but I will read her presentation. And she's from University of Malta. Then we have Mariusz Skiba, Deputy Mayor of Katowice. We are very happy to have Mariusz. Unfortunately, the Mayor of Katowice was scheduled to come, but probably you know that the Mayor of Gdańsk has been killed. So Marcin, Krupa, Mayor of Katowice, is today at the funeral mass of his colleague from Gdańsk. Then we have Mayor Labib Akiki, Mayor of Antoura, Lebanon. And we have Lilly, Seidler, Arnold, Mwamba, and Moise. They will present the network Greening Africa Together. So let's start with this panel and try to introduce it a little bit. Well, the panel outline, no need to show. We will have 3 talks. I will give the first talk about climate change and cities from the scientific point of view. The second talk is the talk of Simone that is not, unfortunately is not with us, but I will read the slides with you. And it is about climate change and cities from the point of view of law. The third talk will be by Mariusz, taking the place of Marcin, and it is Pact of Mayors on Climate Change and COP24. As you know, COP24 has been in Katowice. Then we will have 2 best practices. The first one will be presented by Mayor Labib on waste management in Antoura, Lebanon. And then we will have Lilly, Arnold, and Moise about Greening Africa Together, the network we mentioned just. So let me start only one word about EcoOne. I am representing here EcoOne. You probably know what focal area movement is. I don't stop here because you are here from 4 days, so you know very well what focal area movement is. And EcoOne is the ecological initiative of focal area movement, born in 1999, and it is a network of academics and grassroots supporters and professionals on ecology. So, let us start with the first presentation. The first presentation is on climate change and its impact on the cities. I will show you something about science, about update science. The last report by IPCC has been delivered in 2014. You know that IPCC is the International Panel on Climate Change, and it is an institution of United Nations and the World Meteorological Organization. And they deliver a report every 5-6 years, summarizing science, sound science about climate. It is true that they delivered a report on 1.5 degrees just this year, just before COP24. But the last comprehensive report about the status of our planet has been delivered in 2014. What are the results of this report? First point, from 1880 to 2012, the global average of the surface temperature of the planet increased by 0.85 degrees Celsius. So this is the result of summarizing hundreds of scientific studies on the subject. The second important point is that precipitations and extreme water events have increased in recent decades. Third point, since the end of the 16th of the last century, the Earth's snow cover has decreased by about 10%. Fourth point, in the last century, the sea level has risen by 0.15 meters. Fifth point, since the 70s, there are indications of changes in the atmospheric and oceanic circulation. This is a very important point. Imagine if the Gulf Stream changed the circulation. This will be a very big problem for Great Britain and Iceland. While you have a global warming, in these regions you will have a local freezing. But this will be, I promise you that it will be a real catastrophe for Iceland and United Kingdom. This is a graph of the temperature of our planet up to 2017. You can observe here, we have more or less the same temperature in just after the Industrial Revolution. Then you have an increase. Then you have more or less a stable temperature in the 50s of the last century. But from the 80s, you have an increase, a dramatic increase of the temperature of our planet. Those data can be downloaded by berkeley.earth.org. This is an NGO summarizing the more sound scientific results of universities and research centers. The last years, you see here, 2016, 2017, 2015, have been the most warm year since the Industrial Revolution. And the problem is, at least for us, at least for the person that are living in the northern hemisphere, that the increase in the northern hemisphere is larger than in the southern hemisphere. And as you can see, the increase is dramatic in the Arctic region, with strong ecological problems. These slides show the difference between the increase in land and ocean. As you can imagine, the ocean has a heat capacity, so larger than the land, so the increase of temperature is smaller in the ocean. This means that in our cities, especially if the cities are in the land, not close to the sea, the increase in temperature will be more dramatic. One more slide. Here you can see the temperature rise, the difference in each month of the year, and more or less the general trend is that the increase is larger during winter. Okay, this is not very important, but just to show you that in gray you have the trend of temperatures before 2016, 2017, and 2015 that have the record, the temperature record for nearly each month of the year. So, what's going on now? If the trend will be followed, you can see that if we don't change, in 2065 we will reach an increase of temperature of 2 degrees Celsius. And according to climatologists, this is very dangerous for our planet. One dramatic effect is the Arctic sea ice extent. Those are data from United States, the best institute studying ice, and you see that from the 70s of last century up to now, the sea extent is almost half of the beginning of when we started to take measurements. So, what are the impact on cities of all these problems to our climate, all these changes in our climate? I have found a very good review by Hunt and Watkins. It has been published in 2011, but in my opinion, it is a very good review summarizing what is important to say about climate and cities. And I've tried to summarize in some points the results found by these scientists. First point, larger cities close to water and economically dependent on weather-related sectors are most at risk. Building and infrastructure are at risk from climate-related extreme events. We will see an example now. Extreme events, storms, hurricanes. Energy demand is expected to increase for cooling and to decrease for heating in colder countries and periods. It is not clear from models what will be the more important effect, increasing or decreasing. Earth impacts include the direct effects of heat and cold on people, heat waves, as well as the indirect effects of changes in disease patterns. If you have, I don't know, mosquitoes going up from one point of the planet to another one, you will have a change, indirect change on diseases. A changing climate may impact the demand, availability, and quality of water. This is very important as well. Water is a very important issue for at least more than 1 billion people now, and this can dramatically increase. Climate modeling is becoming more sophisticated and allowing more granular scenario analysis. This means that in the future we will be able to say what's going on in New York, in Rome, not only to say general trends on, I don't know, a continent or the planet. Cities, this is very important for this conference. Cities play a key role in social and economic activities, and that adaptation decisions are local, and thus the city level is often the appropriate scale for decisions and responses, as we will see from our colleague mayors. A standardized impact adaptation methodology would add comparison between cities, identifying where the adaptation lessons can be shared between similar cities. Networking. Although the most vulnerable cities are found in developing countries, these cities are affected most by lack of resources to understand and adapt to climate change risks. The last slide is an example. You know, from the scientific point of view, there is a clear relationship between the global warming, the warming of water, warming of oceans, and the power of hurricanes. In black, you have the sea surface temperature in the region near southern United States. And the dashed line is the destructive power of hurricanes. And you see that there is a clear correlation between the two curves. This is a picture of Katrina. Probably remember 2005 Katrina hurricane, and this is the destruction caused by Katrina, and this lady is very worried about this distraction. The president of her country probably is not as worried as well. And with this slide, I end my presentation. Thank you for your attention. So I ask to show the slide by Simone. I will not be good as a Simone Borg to present. There are the slides, second group of slides. Number 2. Okay. Simone prepared some slides about climate change, the Paris Agreement, and cities. A unique opportunity for co-governance, and we thank Simone for preparing this. So, now we are treating the climate change from the point of view of law. And you know that the United Nations Framework Convention of Climate Change of 1992 in Rio, Brazil, the Kyoto Protocol, and the Paris Agreement stipulate 3 different types of obligations. The first one is mitigation, the second one is adaptation, and the third one is governance. Mitigation. We have to work in order to reduce greenhouse gases. Just to say it simply. Adaptation. We have to adapt to a climate change, to rising in temperatures. Governance. This is your work as an administrator. We have to govern this kind of changes, starting from the cities. Mitigations since Paris. Paris is the, you know very well, this agreement adopted in COP21 in 2015 in Paris. And Simone said in the title of this slide, the age of fossil fuels is over. And according to Paris Agreement, control temperature increase by a peaking of greenhouse gas emission as soon as possible, if possible, in 2030. So we are increasing our fossil fuel emission, but according to the Agreement of Paris, the peak has to be reached in 2030. Then we must decrease. And they said in Paris, by achieving a balance between emissions caused by human activity, for instance, power generation, transport, waste, industrial processes, agriculture, land use, and removals of greenhouse gases by sinks in the second half of this century. So the idea is that after 2030, we must decrease our greenhouse gases emission. Adaptation, this is the other topic. Equal importance is given to adaptation to climate change. Adaptation means ensuring resilience from risk associated with the impacts of climate change. Adaptation requirements vary according to locality and needs of different individuals. It is clear that adaptation is not the same for Katowice or for Antoura, Lebanon. The vulnerability of states, cities, and people varies depending upon the geophysical, socioeconomic realities. So, what is the governance of climate change since the Paris Agreement? State parties have an obligation to submit nationally determined contributions. This was an important issue during COP24 in Katowice last year. Nationally determined contributions to mitigate greenhouse gas emissions and to adapt to climate change. Therefore, governance from a bottom-up approach rather than than top-down, because they have seen that the top-down approach is not successful. It is better to apply a bottom-up approach. And here cities are very important in a bottom-up approach. They can be the leading force in this approach. NDCs collectively aim to secure the increase of global temperature by not more than 1.5 degrees Celsius. This is the limit, according to scientists, a safe limit, or let's hope a safe limit. Action is to be reviewed and accelerated every 5 years with adaptation measures in parallel to the contribution cycles for mitigation. And the idea was to mobilize 100 billion US dollars for developing countries. Where do cities stand after Paris Agreement? All states must address climate change, respecting the different national circumstances, capacities, and capabilities. Promotes co-governance, that is the involvement of non-state actors such as cities. And where do cities stand re-mitigation, adaptation, and governance? What will be the impact upon cities? What is the impact of cities upon climate change? Can cities make a difference in mitigation, adaptation, and governance? So, Simone will try to answer to all these questions. Mitigation. Cities are major contributors to greenhouse gases, emissions, and mitigation measures taken in cities will drastically impact upon NDCs. Current NDCs submitted fall far short of the stipulated global ambition. This is a major problem. Even if current NDCs are fully implemented, global mean temperature would most likely still increase in the range of 2.7 to 3.5 degrees Celsius at the end of this century. This is a serious shortfall, and action is essential to strengthen those contributions, especially by large emitters. Must start already in 2018 in order to keep, last year, so let's hope that they will start this year, in order to keep the world on a path that is considered safe for humanity. Role of cities is crucial here. Cities may trigger the necessary change. International negotiations depend on national decisions, which ultimately depend upon cities and municipalities' involvement. Cities serve as a catalyst for national developments by forcing national policymakers to contribute and continuously revisit mitigation targets. Success of the Paris Agreement depends on whether the agreement. The cities have the potential for further changes to ensure emissions are neutralized in time frames set. Cities may become a trend setter for policy processes, locally, nationally, and at the regional and international level. Cities and adaptation. Cities are in the best position to identify their vulnerability to risks associated with climate change. They know, or at least they should, how will the infrastructure be affected by sea level rise? How will extreme weather events affect the vulnerable? What economic losses will be incurred if nothing is done? Moody and other economic agencies are factoring in climate resilience. How will water supplies, food security be affected? Climate change, governance, and cities. Paris Agreement is not the end, but the beginning of a process which calls for co-governance. Its effectiveness depends on whether the momentum of Paris can be turned into a political force and translated into national and local laws and policies for a low-carbon and a climate-resilient economy. politics and law and science and technology must work together. A role for cities, in particular, especially those that have universities or fund research and innovation. What else is in it for cities? Cities, a hotspot for community to the vulnerable people that will be hit hardest. Cities most interested in curbing pollution, transport, greening their environment, minimizing and dealing with waste. Cities stand to gain by becoming more energy efficient. Cities may apply for funding under Climate Action Fund and even European Union projects. Concluding remarks. Those of us who will work hard in implementing the Paris Agreement will not live long enough to see its benefits, but that is beside the point. We are working for our children. The best human achievements have always seemed like a futile attempt in the face of pessimism that things could change. It was the sense of commitment shown by the founders that effected the change, which was often appreciated much later by future generations. Cities have a unique opportunity to step into partner governments who want to effect change and to challenge governments that postpone actions. Okay, this was the presentation by Simone, and now I leave the floor to Marius, Deputy Mayor of Katowice. Thank you.
Good afternoon to everyone. Benvenuti tutti. Welcome everybody. It's a big honor and pleasure for me that in suspension of the mayor of the city of Katowice, Mr. Marcin Krupa, I can be the part of this event. At the beginning I would like to thank you, to give the thanks to organizers for inviting us to this event, and I would like to give you the thanks to Luca for the words and remarks he just gave to the problem which we are investigating in this panel. Today, I would like, in my presentation, I would like to share the information about my city, the city of Katowice, and about this event on which world opinion was attracted by throughout 2 weeks in last December, and I would like to give you some information and notes about the meeting point which gathered 196 representatives from the countries all over the world, presidents, prime ministers, different ministers, representatives of different organizations. But in my presentation, I would like also emphasize the meaning of responsibility, the responsibility which rests on our shoulders, the responsibility which is part of our life, and the responsibility which create the conditions to avoid these problems which were presented in the first presentation. A few years ago, we got pleasure to be visited by Mr. Benjamin Barber, the political theorist who used to say that in globalized world, the true power is in hands of the cities and not central governments. And that means that that self-government needs to face the change and the challenge. And the challenge means not to look or stick only to actions carried out by central governments, but the self-government, the cities, should focus on the action that should be taken by ourselves, by themselves, by the mayors of the city, like the city of the Katowice, who are hosting last COP, but also by the mayor of the city in which we are now, Castel Gandolfo, but also by the mayor of Antoura in Lebanon, but also by mayors of the cities like Pisa, Mantova, which representatives we've got here on this in this event. The climate summit has been the great event which has proven that the representation of almost all countries of the world can unite and speak with one voice. But more important is that we can unite and we can act together. It is the crucial challenge of our times, and failure would be a mistake. That failure, the next generation wouldn't forgive us. And maybe now I will give you some information how it happened that Katowice were the hosting city of last COP. This is something like the part of our strategy, and this strategy consists of many factors. Which refers to our heritage. This is also the part of strategy which gives the adjustment to the condition which are necessity of current world. And there was the question how to promote the COP24 in example of the city of Katowice. And mainly we focus on three factors. First of all, was that eco-transformation. Eco-transformation that city of Katowice has been undergoing nowadays and during last years. Transformation from the city which economy was based on heavy industry and which economy is transforming to the city which is the capital of fast-growing metropolis with over 2 million inhabitants. And giving you some remarks in this point, not much more like 20 years ago, 80% of our city was covered by coal area. We had like 6 coal mines which were operated in the borders of our city. Nowadays, it's around 30% of the terrain of the city which consists or is treated as the coal area. And the number of coal mines dropped to just 2. Another remarks in this field is that we revitalized many industrial areas. For example, at the premises of former coal mine, we started creation of something what is our future, what is something like our trademark right now. We started to create culture of zone, where many important institutions had their headquarters, like National Symphonic Orchestra of Polish Radio, for example, and Silesian Museum. And this area was completed by International Congress Center, which is the biggest venue in our country. And this area created thanks to expenses at the level of 300 million euros gives us something what is recognizing us not only in Poland but also in all Europe. Because thanks to these investments, we are recognized by UNESCO organization as UNESCO Creative City in the discipline of music. And what is also very important in this transition, in this process, that our part in this transition aren't the problems with social affairs. If we look at the numbers, for example, on the situation, how it's changed during last years, I can assure you that the situation on labor market in the example of the city of Katowice improved itself. And it's very interesting because we often hear by such a situation that such a transformation may cause problem in this field. On today, the unemployment in the city of Katowice is on the level of just 2%. So I think this is the good results, even here in the condition here in Italy. Another factor which is very important and with which we wanted to boast is that in fact the city of Katowice is a very green city, and it's very interesting because of the fact that we are the heart of metropolis. We are in the middle of the metropolis, which not so far ago put a strong accent on the heavy industry. And thanks to forests, thanks to parks, thanks to ponds, thanks to flowing waters, the green areas covers like 50% of our city. And we won't stop on improving that. Thanks to collaboration with management of forests, we want to make our forests richer in trees and in the quantity of the trees. Moreover, we are now revitalizing 2 parks, and in coming 4 years we plan to revitalize 3 more parks and create 3 more another city parks. And thanks to this aspect, we could promote the COP24 with the slogan from black to green, which shows the transition from the heavy industry and the times when coal mines ruled over in our city to the times when we are boasting with the green areas. The third factor is something what is the problem for our country, because the greatest challenge for the Poland for now is the air pollution. Air pollution, which ranks our country as the most polluted country in the European Union, because World Health Organization report says that like 33 of 50 cities most polluted in Europe are those one from Poland. But what is optimistic, that the city of Katowice, thanks to implemented tasks during last years, improved their position in the rank from 19 to 38. So this shows that the effort which is given is profitable. And we mostly stress our actions on the task like complex action plan to reduce pollution, replacing, for example, old coal stoves, thermomodernization, subsidizing for inhabitants with low incomes. But also we use drones which inspect houses' chimneys to check if what comes from there. The city of Katowice got the biggest net of air quality sensors. We created 115 charging stations for EVs in our city. We are purchasing the ecological buses, and in coming month we are expecting to get them to our fleet. We offer sustainable transport by developing of public transport, constructing of free park and ride centers, new bike lanes, and new 5-kilometer tram lines. And this is something like the background which gives us the possibility to organize something like the COP. But what is the most important, this is what happened during the COP24. 23,000 delegates from 196 countries arrived to the city of Katowice to negotiate action for climate politics. And here I need to emphasize that to adopt regulation, the climate negotiators had to unanimously vote for the proposed rules. Before I discuss the final decision of the COP24, I would like to emphasize that during COP we held many important events. One of them was adoption of partnerships for fostering electromobility by 40 countries, and its key points refers to every city, supporting research and development of electromobility technologies, development of EVs infrastructure, incentives for EVs customers. There were also another ones which refers to forests and just transitions, which is very important in terms of situation on the labor market. During COP24, Katowice, the city of Katowice joined Convention of Mayors, and we decided to follow EU targets for climate and energy, and even exceeded those targets. It's worth mentioning that Convention of Mayors unites 7,000 local and regional authorities from 57 countries. Members are obliged to support EU targets and reduce greenhouse gases emissions by 40% until 2030, and adopt joint approach to reduce impact on environment and adapt to climate change. The most important result of COP24 was adoption of Katowice rulebook. Here I can say that I had a chance to watch what goes on the backstage when representatives of almost 2 gathered countries in one room. It was not easy to reach agreement. It was discussion about the details on technicians were on the ropes. In Katowice, new legal frames were set for global climate politics starting from 2020. Katowice rulebook is a document with 20 decisions which was prepared in negotiation in 7 parallel streams. The parties expressed their satisfaction that the last report of IPCC, which was mentioned in previous presentation, on global warming was finished on time. The report states that current action for reduction of average temperature is insufficient, and what is more, it's more to reduce temperature by 1.5 degree of the average temperature from the before the Industrial Revolution. And last point, what Katowice gained thanks to COP23. Of course, we were able, thanks to this event, increase the awareness of our inhabitants in terms of ecological actions. For example, we implemented projects, ecological actions, which, for example, give the possibility by application to point out the places where these trees can be planted in the area of our city. We also give the possibility to talk about climate change and ecological issues in temporary structure, which was constructed in the market square. And there, for example, pupils, kids, young inhabitants of our city were able to introduce to the problems of a common world. COP24 in Katowice got mixed reviews from media and the United members around the world. I can say that although not all targets were met, everyone pleased and relieved to adopt Katowice rulebook. And here we got the expressions, opinions from the most engaged persons, from Patricia Espinosa, Executive Secretary of UNFCCC, who said, all officials were deeply engaged in supporting the conference, which resulted in promotion of the city around the world. Visitors will go back to their countries, having in mind hospitality of Silesia, which combines tradition with modernity. Mr. Michał Kurtyka, who was president of the COP, he described this, what was done, by the words, Katowice rulebook is a breakthrough for climate future around the world. Talks and negotiations were complicated and at times even tough because the subject was demanding. Polish presidency feels satisfied to have helped and supported the parties in reaching the results. Mr. Emmanuel Macron, President of France, I am pleased with the arrangement reached in Katowice during COP24. International community still gets involved in tackling climate change. Congratulations to United Nations, scientists, NGOs, and all negotiators. France and Europe must show the way. The fight goes on. So I think those words just approved this what done in Katowice, and I was really pleased that I could share the information with you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Marius. I think you have shown us how going from global to local, because COP24 was a global affair, but the improvement in your cities are local. And now we go further local, and we go to Lebanon, and we invite our dear Mayor, Labib Akiki, to take the floor.
Merci. Notre sujet, c'est de sauver l'environnement.
So, for those that does not understand French take the headphones.
Merci. Le Liban, connu pour la beauté de sa nature et son peuple accueillant, vit depuis la fin de la guerre une situation de malgérance et de gouvernement corrompu qui se sont succédés, influençant fortement la vie citoyenne et civile de la population. Depuis quelques années, ce malaise s'est traduit, entre autres, par une crise de gestion des déchets dont nous continuons à souffrir. D'ailleurs, les déchets sont un des grands sujets de la corruption dont on a parlé hier avec Hassan au Liban. Une des conséquences de cela est que ces ordures, incluant batteries, déchets hospitaliers et toxiques, sont déversées dans la Méditerranée, empoisonnant le littoral, les vallées et les routes de montagne, dégradant la nature, polluant les nappes phréatiques, endommageant irrémédiablement notre environnement. Un désaccord entre l'État et la compagnie de collecte des déchets a plongé le pays dans une crise qui dure depuis 3 ans. Élu chef de la municipalité de mon village en 2010, ma priorité a été de trouver et de proposer une solution citoyenne et viable à la population de mon village, en la sensibilisant à la responsabilité individuelle et collective de l'assainissement, de l'environnement, dans une perspective écologique à long terme, afin de défendre mes valeurs et être digne de la confiance mise en moi par les habitants de la commune. Antoura, 4000 habitants, est situé à une vingtaine de kilomètres de Beyrouth, la capitale du Liban, à proximité de la célèbre grotte de Jrita, qui figurait sur la liste des sites retenus par l'UNESCO pour le choix de ces 7 merveilles naturelles du monde. C'est l'une des plus belles grottes aménagées de la planète. Ici, l'activité est fortement à Antoura. Ici, l'activité est fortement marquée par celle du Collège Saint-Joseph, qui date de 1653, une des premières écoles au Moyen-Orient, et qui compte maintenant 4000 étudiants. Il reçoit 4000 étudiants tous les jours, et qui demeure l'un des traits identitaires les plus forts de la commune, et qui a été renforcé par l'implantation de l'université libano-canadienne, 1200 étudiants. En revanche, la commune compte peu de commerce, pas d'industrie et d'autres activités économiques signifiables. Le triage des déchets à la source est une initiative qui figurait dans mon programme électoral dès mon premier mandat en 2010. Avec mon équipe, nous étions conscients que travailler pour la commune ne pouvait être fructueux qu'en incluant dans la démarche toutes ses composantes, la population, les institutions locales, les commerces, la paroisse dans un effort citoyen partagé. Le projet était ambitieux et il nous a fallu avant toute chose consolider les rapports et les points de vue avant tout entre nous qui venions de bords différents, d'appartenances politiques opposées, de motivations personnelles variées et contrastantes. Il y avait, comme partout, ceux pour qui faire partie du conseil municipal était une promotion sociale, et d'autres comme moi qui voyaient dans cet engagement un moyen de servir l'homme et la société en travaillant à tout ce qui pouvait assurer son épanouissement et le fondement de services justes. Ainsi, nous avons démarré en 2012 une campagne de triage des déchets au Collège Saint-Joseph en collaboration avec la direction de l'école, sensibilisant les élèves, les professeurs et les employés à l'importance d'un engagement personnel. Cela représentait une première étape fondamentale pour passer ensuite à l'instauration du tri dans toute la commune. À savoir qu'une telle initiative à un niveau public était une avant-première dans le pays. Le plus dur était de convaincre ensuite les autres citoyens de l'importance du tri à la maison, ce qui représentait pour eux un effort supplémentaire, sans effet ou résultat positif immédiatement visible et palpable. Il faut dire que jusque-là, personne ne se souciait du sort de toutes ces poubelles qui finissaient entassées dans un énorme dépotoir au Liban, puisqu'une compagnie privée s'en occupait. Et lorsqu'en 2015, le dépotoir est fermé pour rupture de contrat, les Libanais vont vivre 6 mois de cauchemar. Les poubelles s'amoncellent en montagne et dans les rues, les rats et les moustiques pullulent, les maladies se multiplient. Grâce à l'initiative de sensibilisation, la commune d'Antoura était prête à pratiquer le triage à la source. Nous avons instauré le tri obligatoire, informant les habitants que le ramassage des poubelles de devant chaque maison se ferait en s'assurant que le tri a été correctement fait et ne ramassant pas les poubelles non triées. Les citoyens solidaires de la démarche ont répondu positivement et nous avons pu obtenir un résultat de 90% de travail sérieux. Notre programme a été soutenu par des ONG, bien sûr, au niveau financier comme au niveau de l'assistance technique et de l'accompagnement. Nous avons pu construire un centre de compostage et un autre modeste de tri. Les citoyens, eux, séparaient les déchets organiques des autres déchets et le centre de tri séparait le plastique du verre et du carton. Antoura devenait ainsi une des rares communes du Liban à composter et recycler ses déchets. 1 an plus tard, l'État reprend en main la collecte des déchets avec le même système qu'avant. Pas de triage à la base, ouverture d'un nouveau dépotoir en bordure de l'aéroport et directement en bord de la mer avec une autre société. Les Libanais, résignés, optent pour la fuite en avant en acceptant le plan temporaire adopté par le gouvernement et donc l'ouverture de 2 nouvelles décharges côtières remblayées sur la mer. Antoura résiste au programme de l'État et continue à fonctionner à contre-courant pendant 2 ans, surtout après avoir monté un centre de triage secondaire au sein de la ville et ensuite un centre de compostage qui est encore plus difficile à développer. Une usine, après tout ce temps-là, après 2 ans, une usine a été installée dans la région qui peut recevoir jusqu'à 250 tonnes de déchets par jour et fonctionne d'une façon très écologique et prévoyant un système de zero waste. Antoura et d'autres municipalités ont donc décidé d'y envoyer les déchets triés à un prix inférieur non seulement à celui de l'État libanais appliqué pour jeter les déchets dans une décharge, mais aussi moindre par rapport au coût que cela coûtait auparavant. À savoir que depuis quelques années, l'État ne paie pas aux municipalités les subventions qui leur permettaient de fonctionner. Et donc, les frais de triage que nous avons adoptés étaient puisés dans les réserves de la commune. Nous nous sommes ainsi trouvés avec un énorme déficit et il devenait impossible d'aller de l'avant de cette manière. Pour nos municipalités, la solution de l'État était comme si nous étions forcés de faire marche arrière et revenir à la solution précédente. Et l'usine, à peine ouverte, ne rentrant pas dans ses frais, est presque obligée de fermer. Pour moi, il s'agit d'un dilemme personnel. Antoura se trouve dans l'impasse. Faut-il fermer une parenthèse d'espoir et de civisme et envoyer ces déchets pour être déversés dans la mer? Avec l'équipe municipale, nous essayons de ne pas baisser les bras. Nous allons de l'avant, dans le dialogue et l'espoir. L'importance est de ne pas plier au compromis. Mais dans un monde où de nombreux intérêts sont en jeu, résister n'est pas toujours facile. Nous nous accrochons à l'instant présent, à la certitude que ce qui est faux ne peut pas toujours vaincre. En ce début d'année, nous avons convoqué les habitants du village à une réunion pour leur expliquer pourquoi notre programme de triage écologique ne pouvait pas continuer à la suite de la fermeture de l'usine on nous a signalé ça durant une semaine. Et notre surprise a été vraiment grande, et notre joie au plus, de voir les habitants et les citoyens proposer de s'autotaxer mensuellement afin de couvrir les frais. Tout de suite, après de nouvelles possibilités, les réponses et les solutions se sont présentées pour couvrir une grande partie des frais. En ce moment, le système, depuis 2 semaines, fonctionne de nouveau et nous sommes dans la bonne position, je pense. Merci.
Thank you. Thank you, Labib. You showed us how difficult it is to put in practice general principles in the daily life of a municipality. And now we continue to see how it is difficult to put in practice with the network. And Lilly will show us what she's doing with the friends in Africa. And we will end with a video. So the end of their presentation will be a video.
We are really happy to introduce Greening Africa Together. It's a network, and I'm not alone here. So we are not Lilly and friends, but we are all a team. So Moïse is member of the team. We have also our expert, Alain Bertrand. Please, everyone should see him. From Cameroon and Kinshasa. We have our technician, Samer Frashiko, from Syria and Berlin. And we have Eva from Barcelona and sometimes from Berlin. And we are a really big network, you will see it. The network is composed from NGOs. Most of the NGOs are part of New Humanity, local organizations, and universities and some communities and supporting institutions. You see some of the logos. There's no time to explain more, but in the best practices you will learn how to become a member of this network. So, Moise, can you just... So you see that we are nearly covering Africa from east to west. Since 2014, in the different meetings, we decided to create this network. And some members of the network are supported also by the German Academic Exchange Service. They are in red, but it doesn't mean that what they can do with more money has more is more worthy than the other actions, because everything, even if it's small, it has a big significance because we are a network, and even if the local activities could be sometimes small, it's important to feel that we are linked together and we are strong together. So what are we doing? I think it's the same what we have heard in the first and the second presentations, but it's a little bit simpler to see, because for the climate change we have responsible factors like fossil fuels from airplanes, which and cars. Oh, I'm too fast, excuse me. And we have factors which can reduce, it's what we call mitigation, can reduce the procedure of climate change. So it's possible, each of us can contribute to positive actions. It's what we try to realize actively in the network, and we can try to reduce our negative actions. So, since we are here at the co-governance, we try to resume our goals for local communities. Because as the communities, how we heard from Habib, they are educating their citizens. And it's very important to see that we can exchange and help each other. to educate all the citizens in the different institutions, for example, in the universities, in the communities, to protect and to plant trees, to work on energy efficiency and to replace fossil fuels by renewable energy, and to reduce waste and to do waste management like Habib is doing, and to recycle. So we are trying to link in the network the different villages, NGOs, communities to work together, and also to promote CO2 neutral institutions and communities and universities. It means if it's neutral, the balance here is zero. So what we produce as negative impact, we can balance it by positive impacts. At least it's an aim. So we have also a service learning approach, because what we think the most important is that young people are joining, because the young people, they can change everything, and young people have a lot of knowledge. So to improve and to apply the knowledge of the young people, we propose to university students, especially in master programs for renewable energy, to work together on common projects in Senegal, Benin, Congo, and the other places. And the local population is profiting from these concrete installations. This is called service learning, because there's a balance between service and learning. And the most important is that we want to enable African young people to fight climate change in an active way together and to work for a united world. So I will pass the word to Moise.
Thank you. So this slide describes how we are working. After we receive need from local NGOs and community. Okay, I'm going slowly. Yeah, I was saying after we receive needs from NGOs and communities, so we are acting toward their need. So if they don't have electricity, we propose renewable energy such as solar energy. If they don't have fuel for the kitchen, we provide a biofuel for them. If they don't have water, we pump up the water from solar system. If they need trees, we can plant trees for them. For the first line, you can see we are reforesting Senegal, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Zambia, Kenya. For solar energy, we are working in DR Congo, my country where I come from. We are working in Benin, in Senegal. For solar drying, or conserving food, we are working in Senegal, in Turkey. For biogas, as I said before, and fuel briquettes, we are working in Senegal and Uganda. Water quality is in Senegal because we can find any place, any village where they don't have access to clean water. As you know, clean water access is one of the 7th goals of sustainability from the United Union. The waste management, as Lilly said before, and environmental education. So here are some pictures. You can see the reforestation in Senegal. We are installing solar system in the maternity in Senegal also. Here it's the hospital Moi Mwantongo in Kinshasa, leading by Dr. Arthur Ngoyi. Here is the team from Congo, the solar system in Benin, a solar system in Senegal. Here we have a charging station. I would like to explain a bit more about it. So we are installing the system, we are giving the project to local population. And we thought if we install the system, because we are working in the summer school system for 2 weeks, and then we go to prepare a next summer school. But we thought if something is broken in the system, how do they can provide a new lamp, for example? How do they provide a new appliance for the system? we thought we can build a system which will bring a bit money, because even though in the village people don't have electricity, trust me, they all have mobile phones. And we thought they can charge the telephones and give money to hospitals, school, and then the institution will keep that money to ensure the sustainability of the project. If we are not there, if they need one lamp, they can replace from the money they took from the charging station. Here, we were installing the school in rural Congo, called Petite Flamme, where they don't have access to electricity. But today, this school is like a reference for the people surrounding the village. When even students want to prepare the exam in the evening, they go to the school to study, because the school is the only place when we can find light in this village. Here we have the closing ceremony. People in the village thanking Greening Africa Together for bringing light, for bringing life. As you know, there is no development without electricity, no sustainability without sustainable energy. So they were rejoicing for the projects we gave them. Here, it's the solar dryer in Senegal. Another problem we wanted to solve is people have a lot of food, but food is wasted because they don't have any technical, any appliance that can help them to keep the food. We try to build a solar dryer to keep food. Here we have a biogas system in Senegal. So in Casamance, women they have a system that they cook together, but they are using wood. And you know, in the environment, when you use wood, you are destroying the planet, because you are flowing the CO2. And we provide a system for them using the biogas to cook and to save or to heal the environment. So here you can find pictures, the bottom pictures, you can find people cooking with biogas. So we have also management of waste. We are fighting the use of plastic bags by using the tissue bags. As you can see, everybody is involved, men, women, young people, to fight the use of plastics in our countries. And there we are also working in environmental education, as we are promoting here the bottom-up system, even though the scripture also says that you have to instruct your child in the way he should follow, because when he will get adult, he will not turn away from that way. That's how we chose also to teach to children how they can also act, because all together we can go far in our fight of global warming. So I will return the word to Lilly.
I will finalize. Oh, thank you. I hope it doesn't mean that I should finish with. So I just want to finalize, because we have perspectives. We want to increase the network so everyone can join or support the network. And there are members, NGOs, universities and communities, and partners like companies or institutions. So we also want to give the young African people the possibility to become young experts of Greening Africa Together. They can solve the problems, and they can consult even, for example, European companies or institutions making projects. And we want to really continue to realize the project with New Humanity, local institutions, and work together with AMU, EcoOne and UNESCO. And we are really happy that we are all working together to reach the global sustainable goals. So if you want to have more information, we began a website. It's not complete, but we can put all the activities there. And if you want to support by planting trees, we are here with our stand. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Lilly. Now we can end with the video. Arnold, are you going to talk before or we start the video? Okay. So if you can show the video by
Government is
Arnold.
spending billions of dollars to construct and upgrading roads across the country. These are high-class roads that have come with them components such as drainages in order to prolong their lifespan. However, some sections of community have continued to indiscriminately dispose of waste and turn these newly constructed drainages into dump sites. This reporter took time to inspect some drainages in Ndola, North-Rise residential area in particular, and engaged area councillor for Yengo Ward, Arnold Mwamba. He has expressed disappointment and indicated that if there is no behavioral change among residents towards servicing these drainages, the tendency will reduce the lifespan of these roads. As such, he has introduced a floating trophy that will be awarded to people who are properly looking after these drainages, besides keeping their surroundings clean. To kickstart the program, the councillor paid a surprise visit to Faustina Mlenga, who has become the first person to receive this trophy for the month of September. The level of cleanliness here and how this drainage is being maintained is what grabbed Mr. Mwamba's attention.
Our roads have been damaged extensively, largely due to the blocking of drainages. Some careless people have been dumping garbage indiscriminately, blocking our drainage system, and as a result of that, our road network is being damaged every now and then. So in order to prolong the lifespan of our road system, road network, we are encouraging people to be maintaining their drainage system as clean as possible.
Yeah.
So if people can only start looking after the drainage system properly, those roads will last long.
Yeah, it's true.
The way you are doing, I'm seeing you are doing a better job.
Thank you.
So you are taking the award for a floating trophy for September. It will stay at your. It's going to stay. Oh, sorry.
I'll display it in my.
It's going to stay at your place for 30 days.
Oh, thank you so much.
The joyous and perplexed Miss Mlenga said the gesture would encourage her to continue cleaning her surrounding and take ownership of this drainage she has been maintaining for some years now. She has since dedicated this trophy to her garden boy.
I never expected this. I wake up very early in the morning before my gardener comes. I like gardening. But I also wish to appreciate him because he's a very hardworking gardener. To encourage us to keep maintaining our drainage and our surroundings clean. So we need to educate our people to say, look, if you throw litter, you pick it.
Frank Chingambo, Zanis, Ndola.
Good afternoon to you all. Okay. My name is Arnold Mwamba from the Republic of Zambia. I am an area councillor for Yengo Ward in Ndola district of Zambia. The ward I represent has a population of at least 19,000 people. This is based on the census we had 9 years ago, of the year 2010. But by now the numbers has gone up. My ward has the challenges of poor road network due to damaged tarmacs, waterborne diseases during rain season, and airborne diseases. It was after seeing these challenges that we had to have a deep reflection and dialogue with the selected representatives from all corners of the community. As a result, we discovered that most of the challenges were avoidable by maintaining levels of cleanliness. And it is for this reason that we had to introduce a floating trophy, as you have already seen, dubbed Keep Yengo Ward Clean campaign, which goes with a small token of appreciation, awarded on a monthly basis to a deserving household for maintaining thy surroundings clean. All this is done in the spirit of encouraging people to do more in ensuring that the environment they are living in are kept clean at all times. By doing this, we've achieved two main objectives. By discouraging people from dumping garbage onto the drainage system, we avoid blocking the drains, because when drainage system is clean, we at least achieve two things. We stop water from overspilling onto the tarmac, and consequently prolong the lifespan of the roads. This is also good for the country because government won't be spending more money for repairing roads damaged because of the flooding caused by the blocked drainage system. Two, we also avoid waterborne diseases such as cholera, which affects most parts of African countries, and the other diseases because of the contaminated water. Because contaminated water will be passing through the drains freely without polluting the environment. The other achievement is that by sensitizing residents to stop burning objects openly, but instead take thy waste to the designated dump sites to avoid air pollution and consequently prevent airborne diseases that could have developed due to polluted air. Thank you very much. There must be another video concerning the same, the last one. It's just about, it won't take about a minute, just a minute or so. Thank you very much and good afternoon.
She knew nothing about a house being awarded for being the cleanest in the Keep Yengo Ward Clean competition. Marjorie Sinadambo was doing her chores until Yengo Ward Councilor Arnold Mwamba led the Ward Development Committee to deliver the exciting news.
You are the award winner of the floating trophy. You are the recipient of the floating trophy. So we are very happy that the way you are cleaning the surroundings, more especially the drainage system. We have experienced a lot of potholes because of the poor drainage system. A lot of people dump garbage. They dump garbage, they bury the drainage. They even plant lawn on top of the drainage, without even caring for the environment. But the way you are doing it, this is perfect. And I'm urging everyone not just to emulate you so that we keep our infrastructure, mostly road infrastructure, intact.
The 54-year-old soft-spoken authorized resident was happy to receive the award.
I'm happy. I didn't expect it. Okay. I'm also a decorator. That's why I keep it clean.
What did you urge other homes?
They do, okay, they like coming here, but sometimes they even laugh at me. Why do you make yourself busy each time? You can't even employ a houseboy. So me, I'm busy. At least I'm busy myself.
This is the second house to be awarded since the competition kicked off. Mike Mobanga, Movie TV News in Ndola.
Very interesting. We have to make a similar competition to see if we keep clean this Mariapolis center, who is keeping more clean. Okay, I think it's really time to come to some conclusions. And I think the key word of this panel is bottom-up approach. We have seen that sometimes in the first presentation, sometimes politicians seem not aware of risks of climate change. So probably we have to raise awareness on science, starting from our cities, from our schools. And also in the second presentation, we have seen the presentation of Simone that bottom-up approach is important to implement international agreements like the Paris Agreement. In the third presentation, we have seen how the green transformation of a European city can be a catalyst. And also we have seen that a change, a green transformation, does not mean less occupation, but it meant an increase in occupation level. Sometimes people say, okay, we cannot pay green transformation. It is too costly. We will lose occupation. Katowice showed us that this is not true. And also, we have seen that it has been a catalyst for a good rule book, the best results possible in the actual international situation. Then we have seen with Labib, with Antoura, how a network, once more a bottom-up approach, a network between citizens, universities, institutions, made a real miracle in difficult situations, and we are very happy that this approach, this triage, this waste management can go on again. The last presentation was also very inspiring, I think, and I hope the kids that were playing with the photovoltaic electricity, they also will be the citizens of tomorrow. They will be more aware on what this kind of electricity is, and they will be more aware on environmental education. Now, I will end this panel with a provocation, with a question to the organizers of this co-government conference. And the question is co-government conference carbon neutral? If not, you can plant the trees and you can go to Lilly and to fund some trees. Thank you very much.